Hello, welcome to Fret Dojo. My name is Greg O'Rourke. In this lesson, we're going to have a look at 3 fingerstyle exercises that will dramatically boost your speed and accuracy when it comes to fingerstyle guitar. Whether you play jazz, rock, classical, country and western, whatever, there's going to be a lot in this lesson for you if you're interested in building your fingerstyle skills, and also some tips on how to get the most out of your fingers and avoid injury. Okay, well, let's get into the lesson right after this. Before we get into the lesson, if you would like a free printable PDF of all the exercises we're going through in today's video, make sure you click the link in the description below, which will give you access to that. Okay, let's go to a close-up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this first exercise is called touch typing. Just like on a computer, how it's really good to learn how to use all or at least most of your fingers so that you can be more efficient and faster when you type. Likewise, the same comes to fingerstyle guitar. However, the little finger doesn't tend to be used very much unless I'm holding a pick with my thumb and index finger, so we're just going to ignore that for today. So with the 4 remaining fingers, we're going to work it out using this touch typing exercise as follows. Okay, so this gives you a great workout and finger independence kind of training between each of the fingers. The first thing I want to point out though is a good hand position for fingerstyle guitar. Let me just swivel the guitar a little bit this way so you can see that my wrist isn't collapsed against the guitar. Sometimes when I'm playing a pick, I will kind of have my wrist quite close. It suits that style. But with fingerstyle, if you do that, doesn't it look horrible? So you need a little bit of space between the wrist and the guitar body. Not too much though. So that's the opposite problem I see, especially a lot of classical players make, is that they bend the wrist too much. So the idea with fingerstyle technique is it's kind of like I'm picking up a ball. Okay, think of the natural movement of the fingers when I'm picking up a ball or something from the ground. Okay, you don't pick up a ball like that. You don't pick it up like that. Okay, so you just the fingers kind of fold in naturally to the hand, and there's a natural curve of the wrist. Okay, if you're used to playing fingerstyle with the wrist close to the guitar body, you'll find this a bit unusual initially, but you'll quickly get used to it. So that's the hand position. Now, when it comes to the exercise, there's not much to it. I've just used the same pattern for each of the 4 chord shapes that are in this exercise. The first is kind of based on E minor. And repeat that a couple of times, and then go to a C chord. Okay, so let's just take the left-hand fingers off and look at the open strings. So at the start of each bar, I'll often do something like this, where I actually prepare all the fingers lightly on the strings before I play. That's very important because it improves your accuracy and potentially your speed at fingerstyle. If I'm doing this, there's a chance I'm going to sort of hit a wrong note. But if my fingers are not sort of tense and sort of grabbing the strings, but just lightly touching and prepared, it dramatically reduces the work my hands need to do. And it gives me a chance to find the strings, especially when I'm changing through each of the chords of this exercise sequence. Watch this. See how I prepare? Sometimes I won't do that because I want the chords to ring, but if I feel like I might be losing my place in terms of where my hands are in relation to the strings, I will prepare a little bit more so I can make doubly sure that my fingers are going to execute on the correct strings. So especially when you do something like that, you can dramatically increase the speed. So if all the fingers are on already, it means I just kind of have to shoot them off one after the other, like that, and it's a lot faster than doing one finger at a time. Etc. So that is exercise number 1. Let's move to the next exercise now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this exercise I call Blocky Goodness is an excellent one for learning how to negotiate tension when you're playing fingerstyle. You'll find with things like this, when you've got to play lots of repeated chords, more inexperienced fingerstyle players will start to feel their hands tense up as they play more and more. So if you're feeling that, this is a great chance to kind of eliminate that bad habit. What we're going to do is each time you play, just feel like the hand is empty after each strike of the chord. You notice that I'm not rigidly staying in a position. I'm letting the hand move a little bit kind of in response to striking the strings. But I'm not doing it too much because that'll hamper my accuracy. If I go like this, I could be hitting any strings like that. So make sure you don't go too far away, but you just let the hand do what it wants. Don't sort of enforce a rigid position. Just very gentle movements. Let's also have a look at how the thumb should move when you're playing fingerstyle. It shouldn't be tucked behind the fingers like this. That's a mistake I commonly see. That'll put, again, we're aiming to reduce as much tension as possible in the hand. If you can reduce tension, it means that you'll be more accurate and can play faster. So the thumb actually swivels from the joint all the way down here. There's actually a joint in your thumb close to the wrist. You know, often people think that the thumb only ends here, but it's all the way back here, and that's a very strong muscle attached to that joint there. So it's like you've got a big paddle that's kind of striking the string. Sometimes people like to make little circular movements with their thumb, other people just like to kind of strike forward like that. But you don't just play from the top joint or even the second joint. It comes all the way. All of the joints are involved, but it comes all the way from this one here, okay? So really feel that movement as you play this exercise, and in particular all the exercises in this lesson, so you can really feel the movement of the thumb from the wrist joint. Just try that a few times. Yeah, each time the thumb plays, really feel that. Okay. So we're looking at reducing tension and seeing if you can play it, once you get used to it, at a reasonably quick tempo without that tension creeping in. This is really useful for all sorts of styles of music. Like if I'm playing like often you'll have those block chords with the thumb, sometimes on the on beats, other times on the off beats, but it's really good to know how to play strings together in fingerstyle rather than just one after the other like what we were doing in the previous exercise. Okay, so that's number 2. Let's have a look at the final exercise for this lesson now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So exercise number 3, Viva Los Lobos. I called it this because it was inspired by an exercise that Villalobos wrote for guitar. He was a well-known South American composer that wrote a lot of classical guitar music. Now this finger pattern was what I was given when I first went to university, and it's a doozy. It still really challenges me, this one, but it's one of the best for quickly building finger accuracy and independence. So it's not for the faint-hearted. Perhaps stick to the first 2 exercises for a while before you try this one. So let's just look at the finger pattern if I play the first bar of the exercise. It goes like this. So on the notation for this lesson, if you grab a copy of that, you'll see that the thumb is written as P in fingerstyle notation. The index finger is easy to remember, I, middle finger is M, and the ring finger is A. So make sure you follow those finger markings in the score. So it seems simple, but gradually you have to work through each of these 2 sets of fingers: thumb and index, index and middle and ring, kind of alternating between them as you go through the strings of the guitar. There's not much to say except make sure that you keep your hand position as we covered earlier in this lesson, that you don't avoid building up tension. That can be a big problem for this exercise. Another little tip when it comes to reducing tension is try to play the exercises softly rather than bang them out at a loud volume. That can encourage the hand to learn what it feels like to play without tension when you do then go to practice at a higher volume. So just play nice and softly for a while first, moving through the exercise. Now, if you want to build speed with this exercise, we can use that technique of kind of getting the fingers ready before we play. This is called planting in kind of classical guitar terminology, which I've borrowed this from. This time I'm just going to get a couple of fingers ready first. I find that this exercise can feel a bit cramped if you're trying to prepare everything at once. So I'm going to prepare things in little pieces. So the first couple of notes I'll prepare. As soon as I play the second thumb note, see how my index finger just automatically got ready to the next note. That way I can be sure I won't miss the note. And then as soon as the index finger plucks, the thumb gets ready. And then, as soon as the thumb plucks that note, the middle finger gets ready. So it's like I'm thinking one step ahead of each note in the exercise before I play it. So I'm preparing the next finger in the sequence before I get there. It looks very robotic at a slow tempo, but if I play fast, see how it can really sound quite fluid. There's an inverse relationship between tension and speed. The less tension you have, the faster you'll be able to go. And likewise, the more tension you have, the slower and less accurate you'll be able to play. So that's really the game here, is trying to reduce tension. Once you have the basic exercises down and then you want to boost the speed, then really look at that, making sure your hand position is good, but overall getting that tension out of your hands. That's the real secret to mastering fingerstyle guitar. Alright, so that'll do it for today's lesson. Once again, if you would like a printable free PDF of all the exercises that we've covered today, make sure that you click the link in the description below this video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel to find out when future videos are released, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. So, as always, my name's Greg O'Rourke. Thanks for watching.